Okay, this is day 30 review. We've been at the Holland Lake campground for 2 days and it's time to bug out. It's hard to leave. It was really cold when we got up in the morning, really cool haze over the lake. It was hard to get moving, until that sun came up over that first mountain. It was hard to think about anything other than just being cold. I ran down to the little bathroom they had to change clothes in there just because it was warmer in there than in my tent. Um, and that's even with concrete floors. But eventually the sun did come out. Dana built a nice little fire so we could kind of do some stuff and then go warm up by the fire and then do a little bit more stuff and then go warm up again. And eventually we got everything packed up. We actually managed to get out of there about 9:45, 10 o'clock. And then we just hopped on Highway 83 and it was cold. We started heading south and eventually, we drift in and out of the sunlight as the trees permitted and got down to Sealy Lake. And there's a little town right there. Might be called Sealy Lake. I don't know. I can't tell. But there's a nice gas station where we were able to stop and get drinks and warm up a little bit. Met a girl from Slovakia. She's one of the college students that has come over here to work. And she had a V-Star 650 that was hers. I thought it might be a rental, but it was actually hers, and she had it loaded down. She was just out running around having her own adventure before she heads back to Slovakia for the year. And she's got some kind of a Suzuki 400. I don't know if it was a Bandit or what, a little naked bike back in Slovakia that she rides. So that was kind of cool, just another one of those random encounters. And then after that, we kind of went back north just, I don't know, a quarter of a mile or so and got on this little road that, let's see, goes back into the Lolo National Forest. See if I can figure out what name it is. Morrill Creek Road. And it just runs through the woods and follows this creek. Eventually becomes Cottonwood Lakes Road. Really fun. It has that brown dirt, not a lot of gravel, just some fun up and down, back and forth, real pretty scenery. Eventually came to a long straight road, Woodworth Road or something like that. And again, became really fun. And eventually dropped us out. We got to a road that had a dead end sign on it, but there was another way to go. And so we just dropped south. And I want to say the road we went south on was Lower Game Range Road. And that just dropped us right back out on Montana 200, and we just started heading east on that. And it was just a really fun ride. I mean, Sarah liked it, everyone liked it. We were on 200 for quite a ways. Ran that over to Helena, however they say it, I think. Let's see. Yeah, and that went through another national forest and was pretty. It was following along the Blackfoot River. So we stopped in this little town of Ovando, I think it was. And they had the Blackfoot Inn. It was this nice old dude running like a little general store. It had like 6 rooms. They were like 140, 150 bucks a night. I mean, it's just a really cool, tiny little town. It had one little bitty tiny square in the center of town with a handful of buildings around it, little restaurant. He actually had 87 octane gas, had 91 octane gas if you wanted it, had ice cream. Sarah got moose poop crunch ice cream, whatever, moose track ice cream, okay. Yeah, some kind of crazy ice cream with, what was it, chocolate chips in it, or?
Peanut butter cups and chocolate swirl.
Yeah, Reese's peanut butter cups in it anyway. Should have been called moose poop ice cream is what it looked like. Um, the flavors up here are kind of interesting. I think they should have like a bear scat ice cream flavor too, with little red berries in it. Maybe have some hot spice in it, like bear spray flavor. Anyway, they got some ice cream. We got back on the road and continued east. And pretty sure, yeah, we were just following the river for a really long time. And then we picked up little road that went down, let's see, Highway 279. And that was all paved and had a really cool twisty section. Had a neat little overlook at the top. You know, I'm getting off my bike to take pictures, and I hear, "Oh no!" And Daniel dumped his bike on the left side, so I had to get that picked up. Got a picture, so it did happen. And we just ran that road. It's just a really fun paved road. Eventually, that dropped out to where did that come out to? Just on the west side of northwest side of Helena, and we didn't get on I-15. We just headed straight south, which was probably a mistake in retrospect because we got into a school zone and we got to a left turn that was a non-protected left turn, and that was the street where everybody was pouring out of the school parking lot at 2:47 or whatever it was, and no one was going to let us turn left. Finally, when it turned yellow, Daniel and I went, and then eventually Sarah got through. And yeah, that took a little while to get through there. And then we just kind of drove through the edge of town, and there's lots of really cool architecture, a lot of interesting churches. They have some kind of cathedral that they're renovating, and then there's a very large mosque with a huge minaret, all kinds of older churches nearby, Lutheran churches, Presbyterian, whatever. Didn't really spend any time in town. We just got gas on the north side of town, and then bugged out and headed southwest out of town. Let's see, what road was that? It was the Oro Fino Gulch Road, which started out as paved and was really pretty. Lots of cool little houses along, built onto the side of the hills. They were pretty steep, so kind of reminiscent of stuff you would see in like Los Angeles, up on mountains above Hollywood and stuff, where they got the stilts under them and things. And this road eventually turned to gravel, and it was a big, wide, graded gravel, real fun road, easy, lots of ups and downs. And we came to this little intersection with a real cool rock feature. We went right. The lady in the little car went left. She probably knew something we didn't know. Anyway, it continued, started getting a little steeper, still pretty wide and still fairly well maintained, potholes that you could actually dodge, ruts that you could actually get around without too much trouble, and some really cool views. And then eventually we got up to the top, and the road made a turn back to the southeast, and it's like Travis Creek Road, and it started getting pretty narrow, but it wasn't steep. It was just rough, big washed out holes from like ATVs and side by sides full of water, and we could go around most of those without too much trouble. And there was the occasional big rock that you could either just roll over or go around. Stopped for a little break right in front of a cattle guard, took a rest. Sarah needed to reset her mind, convince herself that she knew what she was doing, because she apparently wasn't having a good time with some of the corners. But got past that cattle guard, went around a few corners, and then the road got basically a one-lane road with 2 tracks in it, and pretty rough, but still flat, so it wasn't bad. So we kept going, and quarter mile, half mile or so, come around the corner, it's like, yeah, we're not doing that. Managed to stop this time before we started down the hill so that we could get the bikes turned around and, walk down and had a look, and it was pretty nasty. So while we're getting the bikes turned around, this guy comes chugging up the hill in a little Kawasaki mule with his dogs in the back, and he sees our bikes, and he's kind of like, yeah, you probably don't want to do this on those big, heavy bikes, especially loaded down. Daniel said that, he had water up to the winch on the front of his Kawasaki mule. I didn't notice that. It would have been ugly, probably. And we had enough trouble just getting the bikes turned around where we were on semi-level ground. The road had a pretty bad camber to it going to one side, so that, when you're doing your 3-point turn with the bike, the front brake became worthless. The tire would just skid across the gravel and let the bike keep going. So Daniel and I got all the bikes turned around, pointing in the right direction, mostly level, so we could get them off the kickstands and get going again. And, turned around and didn't have any issues getting back. Sarah said she actually even kind of enjoyed the ride back, much more than the ride up. probably because she knew what she was in for. You know, there was nothing unexpected, and she had already done it without any problem. So we just had it was a really cool out and back ride. I mean, really neat. We didn't have to backtrack all the way. We just got back to that rock feature that I mentioned, and that was Lump Gulch Road, and we ran that east over to I-15, and man, there are just some incredible homes along this road. I mean, big ranches, high dollar homes, beautiful architecture, just popular spot. If we'd been on 690s or my old 530 or 450s or something without luggage, that would have been a fun road to tackle. So maybe another time. We basically, by the time we got over to I-15, a little town called Clancy, I think, we just started getting on the freeway and hauling because it was already, I want to say 4:30, pushing 5 o'clock. We were kind of tired. So just made the run for Butte, which was our destination anyway. Stopped at a rest stop along the way and called the Hotel Finland here in town, which is a old hotel, historic hotel that is on the north end of town by the big mines, where Roger and I stayed years ago. Had a really cool 2-room suite, and it's only like $150 a night. I mean, the prices on the hotels for what you get really vary in this area. I mean, you could be real high dollar for not that nice, or you can be relatively cheap for one of the nicer hotels, and this one's really good. The water pressure in the shower will take your skin off, and if you want to, it'll take your skin off while being really hot. So that was kind of cool. I like hot water and high pressure, especially when it's got like the massage shower head on it, and that's really nice on my back because kayaking the other day destroyed my lower back. I mean, it's still pretty tender, not as bad as it was, but man, that second day when we were there at the lake camping, it was all I could do to bend over to set my tent up, take my tent down, do anything. If I had to bend over more than about 45 degrees, straightening back up really hurt. So yeah, either I need to do a lot more kayaking or never do it again because that was pretty brutal. But we got into Butte, got the room that I wanted, the same room Roger and I stayed in years ago. And got here, I guess, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Got changed and headed back around the corner. There's Sparky's Bar and Grill, which is a really cool place where Roger and I ate years ago, and the food was really good. And had a great meal. I had more ice cream. Anyway, got back over to the hotel and called it a night. Internet's pretty good here, so hopefully I'll be able to upload videos and pictures and all that stuff. YouTube is currently restricting me to 10 videos a day. So a lot of these little 30-second, 1-minute videos I take along the ride, those add up. And I'm waiting on them to approve me to be able to upload more videos than that in one day. So yeah, good ride. We decided that this hotel was cool. It was cheap. We really needed to do laundry. So we went ahead and decided we'd just spend another day here and take a rest day and maybe go out and just walk around, because the old downtown area is really cool. A lot of historic buildings, really cool architecture. There's a really neat Salvation Army building across the road. This kind of deserted, spooky looking hotel across the road that the neon sign out front still lights up at night. Even says the new Tate Motel. And I think there's a bank down the road, the old Metals Bank, that was real active when the mines were active back in the days, and that's been turned into like a steakhouse restaurant. Might check that out for dinner tonight, because local construction worker guy out, they're filling the seams and the cracks in the parking lot right now, and he was saying that that's a really good place to eat. So anyway, there's also supposed to be really cool home architecture here. I was talking to a couple last night while I was out goofing off taking pictures, and they mentioned that they went riding around some of the residential areas, and the home architecture was really cool. So anyway, just getting done with all that kind of stuff, and hopefully we'll get back on the road. So this is kind of an update for day 30 and day 31. because it's day 31 right now, and we're just doing laundry and hanging out. So we'll let you know more about tomorrow after it happens. Bye.